Okay, welcome to day 4. You probably noticed I'm wearing the same outfit because I'm filming this right after I finished filming day 3. So I should have waited 2 days, but I have to kind of front load some of this stuff. So this is our 4th day of class, even though for me it's only 10 minutes later, but for you it's like half a week later. So okay, but welcome to day 4 of class. I'm going to pick up exactly where I left off last time because when I turned the camera off, I thought of some other things. So I was pointing out that if you want to understand words, and I was pointing out in the Plato that he mentions the word benefactor. And that may not be a word that you know, but you know the word benefit. And when you realize that bene means good, then you can understand the word better. It allows you to understand words you wouldn't faster. You can understand words you don't know faster. When you know benefit is something good, benefactor is a person who is doing good things. Um, Beneficial means something good for you. And then I pointed out mal. And after I turned off the camera, um, I decided to just really quick look up some words that have mal in them. So if you're feeling depressed, so a mal means evil or bad. Um, and by the way, it means that's what it means in French, and that's also what it means in Spanish, because French and Spanish and English draw a lot from Latin, and the word in Latin means bad or evil. But there's a stack of words involving the word mal. So, for example, if you're feeling very depressed or gloomy or miserable, you are feeling dismal. If the weather is bad, the weather is dismal, dismal, M-A-L, dismal. A sickness, a fancy word for sickness or illness is malady. There's actually one particular sickness that has the word mal in the name. It is malaria, which literally means bad air. Like people thought the air made you sick. Malaria. A malefactor is the opposite of a benefactor. Benefactor does good things. A malefactor does bad things. Malevolent is someone who wants bad things to happen to you, like an evil person, a malevolent. If a spirit in your house, a ghost, is malevolent, it's a malevolent ghost. It's bad. It wants to hurt you. Malfeasance is when someone does something wrong on their job, if they're like a public official. Malice is when you sort of have hatred towards somebody. If you have cancer and it's a bad kind of cancer, what do they call it? Malignant. It's malignant. That's bad. You don't need, malignant may be a word you don't know, but if you know mal means evil, and you hear the word malignant, you know that's not good. You don't want malignant cancer. Mm, so there's a pile of words, and I mentioned malnourished and malodorous means smells bad. Um, so the point is that by understanding where words come from, it makes it easier. This is tips for reading fancy things, right? We're reading a very difficult philosopher. It's got some difficult words in it. One of the things college is going to ask you to do is to spend time with texts that are hard, things that are tough to understand. Um, so one of the things that makes it easier is when you have dictionary out, and you can do some dictionary stuff. And it's the dictionary. It's not just look up a word and try to memorize what it means. There's a logic to it. And then words are, especially in English, are chaotic because they come from all kinds of different languages and different backgrounds and stuff. But learning what words mean and why they mean what they mean make it much easier to read difficult things like Plato's Phaedrus. So it's pretty good. Also, I will say words often have some words have very interesting or complicated histories. Um, and sometimes it's simple, like mal means bad, and so malady is when you are sick with something bad, and malignant is when your cancer is bad. Um, but some words have like whole stories and things behind them. So, for example, there was this kind of myth that was around in the Middle Ages about these kinds of these sort of Middle Eastern pleasure gardens, these sort of beautiful places where you could um, like smoke pot and have sex with pretty girls, and it was like this special place that people wanted to get into. Um, and so the people that had these things would say, you know what hash is? Like hashish. It's like marijuana. Um, it's a drug, like an opioid, I think. Actually, I don't know a lot about drugs, but I feel like hashish is related to marijuana and has opioid druggy properties to it. The point is that hashish is like a drug, like pot, and that people wanted to sort of, get high on drugs and hang out with pretty girls and be in these gardens. And the people that had the gardens would say, okay, you can live here if you want, but you have to go kill this person. And that's the only way we'll let you in. And they would give them a name and an address, and they'd have to go find this person and murder them. These killers were known to be very, very dangerous. Um, and in Arabic, the killers were called, what they called them, people like this that murdered people on other people's orders, they called them the smokers of hashish, which in Arabic is hashashin, which is where you get the English word assassin. So this is like sometimes words just are quick and easy, but sometimes words have whole stories and histories behind them they're kind of interesting. Hashashin literally means the smokers of hashish, and it's where you get the word assassin from in English. It's sort of hashashin was sort of hard to say, so it became assassin. But the idea is the same. It comes from Arabic, just like the word, like maladaptive comes from Latin, and benefactor comes from Latin, assassin comes from Arabic language. So it's just words have these histories, and we could do this all day. There's sort of piles and piles of examples of them, and it helps you to make connections. So like infant means little tiny baby. Infantry is the people that go in first in war. Why? Because the infantry is like the young men soldiers, the freshly infantry is like the new guys. They're the guys that rush in first. But there's a connection between infant and infantry. The idea is it's youth is the thing that links them in both cases. And there's just piles and piles of words like this that have these kinds of complicated histories, but it can help you remember words and think about how they're connected to each other, because when you see that words are linked with each other, that's how you increase your vocabulary. Your stupid teachers who give you 1,000 words to memorize on a list, that is not, how are you going to remember 1,000 words and all the definitions? That's crazy. And all the words you got to look up, and you're never going to remember that stuff. This happens to me all the time, where I will look up a word up on Google, and then years, like months will go by, or even years, and I'll go look up the word again, because I forgot what it meant. And when I look it up, the little link is purple. Why is the link purple? Because it remembers that I've already been to that website, because I've already looked this word up before. Because I can't remember what it means, and so I've looked it up 2 and 3 times because I can never remember what the word means. But if you find out a little bit about where the word comes from and how it works, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. And then instead of learning one word, mal means evil, you can learn dozens of words: maladaptive, malnutrition, malpractice, malfeasance, malice, Draco Malfoy, malaria. You can learn all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a different way of thinking about dictionaries and what they do. And the way you look this up is you look up the word in etymology, etymology. Etymology just means word history. But it's a great way to kind of increase your vocabulary, and it gives you power. Because if you can understand what words mean, and then it makes it easier to read. And if you think about how words connect to one another, it helps you remember it and make sense out of it. So it's not just a bunch of random information you're supposed to have memorized, but they're linked up and connected. And I think it's a much better way to think about vocabulary, is to kind of understand where words come from. And then instead of getting one vocabulary word, you'll get like 12. And all you have to do is remember that mal means evil. And for a lot of you who already speak French and Spanish, it should not be difficult to know that mal means evil. And every once in a while, you'll be wrong. Mal and abnormal doesn't mean, like, normal has mal in it, doesn't mean evil. So sometimes you're going to get it wrong. But it'll help. It'll help a lot to kind of think about words in this way. Okay, cool. Looking good. So I just wanted to kind of knock that out. I only have like 1 minute left. Maybe I'll do another one. If you know the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is my favorite show of all time, forever and ever, the word avatar is interesting. In sort of the Hindu language, avatar is like it's like the living embodiment of a god. So like the gods live up in heaven or whatever, and the avatar is the person on Earth who represents them. So Aang, if you know Avatar: The Last Airbender, he's like a kid, but he's the avatar because he sort of represents higher forces, the spirit world and whatever. Fine. But you'll also notice the word avatar comes up for video games, and for like pictures of you on the internet are called avatars. So our video game characters are often known as avatars. Why is that? Well, it's because just as like an avatar was originally God's representative on Earth, well, the character in the video game is an avatar because he's your representative, your God, and he's like a person. Like like the spirit world's relationship to Aang in Avatar: The Last Airbender is the same thing as your relationship to the video game character. If you call your picture on the internet like your profile picture, your avatar. That's because it's your representation in the digital world, just like an avatar in the ancient world was God's representation in the physical world. An avatar on the internet is your representation in the digital world. All right, we'll pick this up next time.